Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever your preference may be. Erik Woods is still in Newfoundland doing Newfoundland type stuff. So Ian and I are watching The Watchmen, but not just any version. No, 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 no. The 12-hour version, or that version. It's like about 4 hours.
3 hours, 35 minutes, I think.
Okay, 3 hours and 35 minutes of our lives devoted to The Watchmen this afternoon or morning. Or, you know what? In my part of the world, it's still morning, but it's going to morph into afternoon before this is over.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's 5 o'clock, just gone 5 o'clock here in the evening.
Okay.
Afternoon, whatever. So,
well,
yeah. It'll be Wednesday by the time it's finished.
It will be. It may be Thursday in some parts of the world. So, did you see this film when it first came out?
No, I caught up with it afterwards on video. I wasn't a Watchmen fan at that point. I wasn't really aware of it. A mate of mine put me on it. Said, "Oh, you got to see this," and he lent me the comic book, or the graphic novel as he called it, which I later bought. So,
okay.
Which is quite a tome. But I enjoyed it. It's the film is actually more violent than the book, as far as I can remember.
The movie is kind of violent. It took me 3 or 4 nights to finish it, because I'd be like, all right, I gotta check out after that, and then I would come back the next night and I'd be like, I gotta check out after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's until it gets to the end. The ending is completely different to the book. It follows the comic book fairly closely. So yeah.
And the comic book is like giant squids invade Earth or something like that.
Yeah, they try to get everybody to come together at the end by saying that, look, there's a bigger threat from out there, and it's this giant alien thing from another dimension.
Kind of like Robotech.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have no idea what that is.
Okay.
I'll agree with you.
Okay. But it was a Japanese cartoon. Actually, it was a series of Japanese cartoons. And they were imported to the States, and they were lumped into 3 or 4 parts. And this giant aircraft carrier spaceship crash lands on Earth, and everyone stops fighting to figure it out. And they fix it up, and on the first day, it's going to go in outer space. The aliens show up looking for that ship, and it's on like gangbusters.
So. That sounds, yeah.
It was a pretty good cartoon back in the day.
Okay.
But if you're ready to start this behemoth of a film,
hang on, let me get my breathing right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Oh, my stuff. No, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Press the play button.
Yellow Paramount.
Yellow
Warner Brothers
here. Okay. Oh, now I got
Legendary.
And Legendary. A lot of names.
DC.
And DC.
I've only watched this one once, this kind of 38-hour version. I knew there was something missing. Just talk amongst yourself there. I can't hear what's going on. Hang on. There we go. Did you ever watch Supernatural?
I'm familiar with it, but I've never watched it.
Right.
I know that guy's in it. He plays dad or something.
He was in the first season, I think.
He was also in The Walking Dead. He played some guy with a baseball bat.
That's right, because he left Supernatural after the first season, But later on in Supernatural, after he'd appeared in The Walking Dead, they found a baseball bat with nails in it, or with wrapped in barbed wire. And just as an offhand comment, they said, "Oh, Dad would have loved that." So kind of in joke, which I thought was quite nice.
You probably don't remember Pat Buchanan, do you?
I've heard of Pat Buchanan.
I think he ran for president at one point, and he was big on the talk shows and whatnot.
What happened to his bid for the presidency? Was it a disaster, or did he get close? Or
Ran against George Bush. I think he was running against George Bush.
okay,
Of course, that was Bush #1 right after Reagan, so I mean he was going to get it.
I imagine if somebody else had made this film, it would probably be about 2.5 hours long, because Zack Snyder does like slow motion.
He does. I heard the slow motion in the Justice League 32-hour cut is quite excessive.
It is.
I mean, I like looking at Gal Gadot as much as the next guy, but you know, I don't need that much slow motion.
I can understand the slow motion in this film, because a lot of the shots are taken as kind of freeze frames of panels from the cartoon or from the comic book.
Did you see 300?
I did, yes.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. Very definition of a comic book film. Again, that based on a comic book. So he was definitely, again, copying frames from the comic.
And now in the comic book world, none of these people have superpowers, right? I mean, except Dr. Manhattan.
I think Dr. Manhattan is the only one that has a superpower. The others are just people that dress up.
But these guys throw each other around and take a beating like they have superpowers.
They're just super skilled. I mean, Batman can take a beating, can't he? And he's fairly skilled, but he's not a superhero.
A pretty hefty suit on.
Yeah.
I mean, ow, that would hurt. Did you ever see that YouTube video where like a doctor gives an idea of how long Batman could actually be Batman until his body gives out?
No.
It's like maybe 2 years tops.
Constantly doing what he does?
Yeah. And he just went through everything like everything that would go wrong with the body from all that trauma. And this was probably one of the less violent deaths in this movie.
Yeah. There's a lot more swearing in this film than there was in the comic as well.
I do like this opening sequence, giving us the backstory.
In a very short space of time, it gives you the kind of history.
It does.
Quite succinctly.
Job.
Yeah.
Hello, Retro. How are you? Are you strapped in for the 12-hour behemoth? That's the Watchmen.
Who's going to stay for the full 3.5 hours, I wonder?
Do you like Bob Dylan?
Not really. He's one of those singer-songwriters that I think, great songwriter, but maybe get somebody else to sing the songs. I'm not a huge fan. What about you?
Yeah, for various reasons. Retro says he's never seen Watchmen. Okay.
So you've seen this before. So you've seen a film
I have.
that he hasn't seen. That must be
Retro
the
says
only
he
film.
hasn't seen it. Yeah. Well, no judgment here at the
No,
Batman show.
of course not. But
So there's something in the comic book what made Mothman go crazy.
I can't remember.
So Retro says he saw some of the props at a convention the year it came out. That's way cool.
Yeah. You know what? I've never ever been to a convention.
Just never had any interest in going, or never worked out, or
It's never been on my radar, to tell you the truth. Now I would love to go to a convention, but it wasn't one of my priorities years ago.
Retro says he owns it on DVD, but has never seen it. I mean, no shame there. I own some CDs I've never listened to. So I think that's just the market being a collector.
Yeah. I must admit, every DVD and Blu-ray I own, I've watched every one of them. So it's one of those things. If I buy a film, I buy it to watch, and I can't have it sitting around my house. I need to watch it. I can't have it sitting there with cellophane on it. The same with the CD. I need to listen to it.
Retro says next time there's a convention up in Scotland, he'll come and hang with you, Ian.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, definitely. Tyler Bates, he did the score for the first two Guardians films.
He did, and 300 and Dawn of the Dead for Zack Snyder. He also did the John Wick movies.
That's right, yeah.
And John Wick 4 is coming out, is it next year?
Yeah, I noticed on Blu-ray.com there's a teaser trailer out for John Wick 4.
Of course, that's the Kent State massacre that took place up in Ohio. I've actually been to Kent State. It's pretty campus.
What was the Kent State massacre?
A bunch of hippies were protesting, and the National Guard was out there, and something happened, and the National Guard opened fire.
Right.
And of course, a bunch of hippies versus National Guard, and you can guess the term with that one.
It's a bit one-sided.
Yeah. Maybe massacre is too strong of a word. I mean, some people did die, but it was a big scandal and wasn't the best day for the country.
No.
So is Rorschach your favorite one?
Do you know what? It was the only one that stood out really, apart from Dr. Manhattan. I was trying to think of the other character that really stood out for me, and that was, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. It was just the one I could remember. I mean, his methods are quite extreme, but he seems to be the only one with a fairly decent moral compass.
That's true. He does seem to be the most popular character, though, from when you talk to people about this film.
Yeah. He's quite unique. All the others are kind of pastiches of past kind of superheroes. He's fairly original. Still don't know how his mask works. I know it's special effects in the film, but I mean, in the world of this, how does it all shift around?
3 days before my birthday.
Nice. What's the actor that plays Rorschach?
Played Freddy Krueger in the new Freddy Krueger movie.
Yeah. What's his name? Jackie Earl Haley.
Yes.
He was in Damnation Alley in 1977.
As a kid?
He played the kid in that.
Okay.
Which had a score by Jerry Goldsmith.
It did. Yes.
Did you pick up the reconstruction that Enchada put out a few years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have or do I have the Film Score Monthly one? I've got it. I forget which label it is. I looked up some reviews on this film score, and no one seemed to like it.
I'm not a huge fan of it, to tell you the truth. I mean, it works for the film, but it's not one I
Go
go
back
out of my
to
way to listen to. No.
Jonathan Broxton of UK Movie Music he just said it was crap. That was his word. Chris Mack, enemy of AV Forums, gave it a 6 out.
Ooh, frozen a bit there. You still with us, Daniel? I'll keep watching. Maybe he's just very good at sitting still. Yeah, the Rorschach pattern on his mask. I understand it's visual effects, but in their world, what makes that inky stuff move around in his mask? Not important, but interesting to find out. Ooh. Just me then. The Ian Show. Now, I watched this for the first time about a year ago. Apart from the animated sequences, I'm not sure if there's any other extra stuff in this version. I think it may be just the animated stuff. Now I'm watching this on Blu-ray and it looks fantastic in high definition.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. I don't know what happened.
shit happens.
Yeah. But anyways, words and phrases used to describe it was lacks focus, unfinished, loud to be loud, no depth, lacks sophistication, unimaginative. I was like, ouch.
I mean, of all the, when I first saw the film, I thought, visually it was spectacular. It it sounded great as in sound effects, visual effects, everything. But I never spoke to anybody about the music, saying, "Oh, and did you hear the music as well? The music was fantastic." It didn't even register for me.
I think it takes a back seat to the songs.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, the Philip Glass piece, when they do Dr. Manhattan's origin, that's pretty front and center.
Oh, we'll have to.
But I don't know if people realize that's Philip Glass and not Brian Tyler.
Tyler Bates.
Tyler Bates. I'm sorry.
I get the two mixed up as well. This guy that plays the young Night or the new Night Owl. Again, what the hell is his name? Patrick Wilson. He's quite an accomplished singer as well.
Really?
Yeah, he's a tenor. The film version of Phantom of the Opera that came out, is it 2006?
Yeah.
He was in that, doing all his own singing. He wasn't the Phantom. He should have been the Phantom.
Like Raoul?
Raoul, yeah. No idea why they hired Gerard Butler to be the Phantom. They should have hired somebody who could sing.
I thought that movie looked fantastic, but
it looked absolutely sumptuous.
But it just wasn't a good movie.
No.
But it looked amazing, totally.
The music sounded fine as well, big full symphonic sound, and people complain, there was a 25th anniversary thing at the Royal Albert Hall here in 2000, whatever it was, 11, I think. And they had a big orchestra for that, and people complained, said, "Oh no, it misses the intimacy of the smaller theatres and the smaller." I just thought it sounded absolutely fantastic with the big orchestra.
Does the Royal Albert Hall feel big to you? It looks huge in the pictures I've seen.
Do you know what? When in pictures and when they show it, do you ever see footage of the BBC proms?
Yeah.
It is big. It holds I don't know how many thousand.
About 7,000, I think.
Yeah, but when you're actually in there, it feels. I've only been in there once, and it was for a tennis game of all things. I don't know what tennis thing it was. It wasn't anything I'd ever heard of. Anyway, but it feels quite small when you're actually in there.
Okay.
It is big and it holds a lot of people, but it's just that thing, when you see pictures of it, they use wide angle lenses and everything, and it looks bigger than it actually is.
Did you like the detective aspect of this film?
I did. I like the whole story of this film. And the fact that when it gets to the ending, it's the villain has done ostensibly a really good thing, even though his methods of doing it were abominable. You can see the logic behind his plan. Slightly in the same way that Thanos' plan was, it had some kind of logic to it, but see, how do you think Rorschach gets all those ink blots to move around on his mask? What do you think is the technology behind it in this world?
There was a YouTube video I saw. It talked about how to do a cosplay mask like that. And it just involved a couple different layers. Depending on how the light hits it, it would look like it's moving.
Right, like those 3D lenticular things where
Yeah.
it's kind of lenticular. Is that the word?
Yes.
I quite like voiceover in a film.
I liked the voiceover in Blade Runner.
So did I. If I'd seen Blade Runner first time without that voiceover, I wouldn't have had a clue what was going on. Don't put anything in the comments about my saying that.
It is an element of a noir film to have a voiceover.
Yeah.
Magnum PI had a voiceover.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. So I kept waiting for the tie-in of this cartoon to the film, but I never quite got the connection.
In the book, it's a kid at a newspaper stand reading this comic book.
But it doesn't really, like, I was thinking, like, okay, so was this like Rorschach's dad from like a long time ago, or is this going to somehow tie in with Ozymandias, or it just didn't go anywhere for me.
I can understand why they didn't have it in the original release or in the director's cut, but
they did release it on DVD shortly after the film came out.
Just the animated
with
Black Freighter
a behind the scenes making segment as well.
On how to make a cartoon. Yes, you draw this picture, then you draw another one, but it's just slightly different.
I mean, I think this is a somewhat interesting story. It's kind of gory, but
oh yeah, I mean the story itself is it's a gripping tale, but I just wonder. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing. Maybe I'm not clued into the whole thing. I don't know how this fits in with the rest of it. Seems to be a bit indulgent.
yeah, I saw the part at the end where the explosion goes off and the kid's there with the newspaper man. They're having a conversation. I got that part, but I just don't get the other part.
I don't see the connection of this story to the rest of the film.
Yeah.
It just
like this right here with the newspaper man talking to the kid. I'm all about that. That's fine. I got that.
Yeah. But they seem to stop the film to show a quick cartoon.
Yeah.
And then carry on.
first time I watched this, I did not pick up that that was Rorschach in civvy clothes.
No, neither did I, because I saw the film before I read the comic book, so it was all new to me.
Would you want to be an action figure?
I haven't really thought about it, but not really.
No.
Well, yeah. Well, it depends. Why would I be an action figure?
I don't know, because you're a famous person.
I've got 17 subscribers. That's not fame. That's
I started out with less than 17. You just got to build up.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I am famous in a very small way. Now, he's English. Again, I can't remember his name. Can't remember any of these people's names.
He's not talking British, though. To me, he sounds American.
No, he's putting on an American accent. Matthew Good.
How do you people do that? I don't.
I have no idea. I think people are better at doing it these days than they used to be. I think because they have better coaches, I suppose, and more practice. But
Oh, I wouldn't have minded if he did sound British in this film.
it would have fit the part, wouldn't it? If he had a.
Yeah, most evil masterminds are British.
But at this stage, you're not looking at him as the evil mastermind.
True.
It's like Idris Elba in The Wire. For the longest time, I just thought he was an American until I saw him interviewed on a British TV show, and I thought, oh my God, he's from London. You know what I mean?
You think he'll be the next James Bond?
I don't think so. I don't
No.
think so.
Is he just too old?
I think he's too old now. Yeah, I mean, he's pushing 50, so.
He looks good for pushing 50.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, they could knock out at least 3 films within 10 years to just get their shit together.
Yeah. But then again, if they had him for 10 years, he'd be pushing 60 by the end of it. And look, Roger Moore was pushing 60 by the end of his tenure, and that was.
Yeah, but that was a different time. Roger Moore's not built like Idris Elba. He's a brick wall.
Yeah.
So
Who do you think?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go. No, you go on.
I was gonna say, like in the 80s, like I grew up, nuclear war, annihilation was like on our minds. Was that on your minds in the UK as well?
Definitely. From the late 70s, early 80s. I remember seeing news reports, and there were documentaries. And it must have been early 80s as well when these kind of drama documentary things came out. I think who was it that directed Star Trek 2?
Nicholas Meyer.
Nicholas Meyer. He did a, I can't remember what it was called. He did a kind of nuclear Holocaust drama, and there was a British one called Threads, I think, and they were just horrific, terrifying, and it was definitely on my mind. Definitely on my mind. It terrified me as a kid because I really thought it was a possibility that it might happen. What year does this take place in? Is it 85? Is it?
85. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which in the real world would have been Reagan's second term, the start of that.
84. He started his second term, wasn't it?
Well, he got reelected in 84, but he got sworn in 85.
Right. How do you feel about CGI special effects or visual effects?
I mean, if they're done well, if it's done to service the story, if you're just doing it just to do it, I don't care for it. I think with Dr. Manhattan, you kind of have to.
Yeah, but there are some people that say, all this CGI, I can tell it's CGI. It doesn't have the same weight as miniatures and models, and it just doesn't look real. I think half the time I can't tell whether it's CGI or models. And you say if you're invested in the film and whatever you're watching at the time, if it works, it works. I don't care how they did it.
I think Jar Jar Binks didn't work, but it was just a bad character.
No, I didn't mind Jar Jar Binks, but having said that, it's over 20 years ago now. Some of the CGI for Jar Jar looks a bit ropey now.
Yeah. Would you want to have Dr. Manhattan's powers?
Yes and no. It would be if I knew I could control myself and be a decent human being. Yes. Having said that, what would I do with it? Do I just become a servant to mankind, or I just go around doing fun stuff like putting my face on Mount Rushmore and you know? But no, having said that, I wouldn't like to have his powers because he knows everything that's going to happen for the rest of time, doesn't he?
To him.
To him, yeah. I wouldn't want to know what happens to me or who I'm going to lose or
Now, this movie, of course, they had two soundtracks. They did the score release, and they did like the songs. And the Luftwaffe balloons is not on the soundtrack that came out.
isn't it?
It's not.
Interesting.
And Everybody Wants to Rule the World is not on the soundtrack as well. Those were like the only two songs in this one. Maybe that Philip Glass piece didn't make it.
I've seen it. Was it what's her name? Malin Ackerman? Is that her name? I think so.
Ackerlin or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
When I first saw this, I thought she was really tall. I thought she was one of these, women who are kind of 5'11", 6 foot, but she's not. She's not particularly tall. She's just kind of normal height. But she just has that look of somebody that's really tall for some reason. Maybe that was just me.
They can also film things and stick you in heels and just talk to Tom Cruise. He's not really 6'2".
No, Tom Cruise is 6'4", I've heard.
Oh, he's 6'4"? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
it was.
tight latex and use awful. Oh, so bad.
Have you seen? I'm talking to Tom Cruise, and her as well. Have you seen Night and Day?
I've not.
All right. She was in that. She played the sister of Cameron Diaz, but it's just a fun kind of old-fashioned kind of. It's like a supercharged North by Northwest.
Hmm.
But the connection was Tom Cruise and her. She was in it.
So I hear Eric's got his last week in Newfoundland.
Oh, has he been up there for that time, is he?
Yeah, he said on Facebook this is his last week. I guess he's gonna head home over the weekend. But that's like a 4-day trip. So
Yeah. That's crazy because, I mean, to drive from Edinburgh to London probably takes about 7 or 8 hours.
is
If
it
you
that
know,
far, or the drive just takes that long?
it's about 400 miles, 350, 400 miles.
Okay.
So I suppose it depends how fast you go.
Yeah.
But we, here in the UK, you think, well, that's a long drive. But compared to other countries, it's not.
Is this a popular song in the UK?
Yeah.
It is. Okay. I would like to see a soundtrack release where they work all the music from the film in the order in which it came out. So you get the score mixed in with the song, so on and so forth. I wish they would do the same thing for Forrest Gump. I would be all over that.
That would be an epic kind of CD release, wouldn't
It
it?
would.
Yeah.
Yes.
I take it you have the song. Do you have the song discs and the score disc for Forrest Gump?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Having
I'm
said
sure I
that,
could just go through and make one myself, but it's not the same thing.
yeah. But I mean, look at the Explorers, the original kind of Explorers score. Didn't that have songs interspersed, or was it score on one side, or score all together and then songs, or was it songs all over the
I think
place?
it was song side A, score side B.
Right. Now, I hear what you're saying, but I would like all the songs just to, from a completist point of view. But I would like all the score in one
One
block
spot. Yeah.
and songs. I would find it quite annoying having songs in between score. That's just me. I never know how to pronounce her name. Carla, is it Gugino? Gugino?
Don't look at me. I never got hooked on phonics. So
Carla Gugino? I don't know. But she's lovely.
I think she's like maybe 8 years older than the girl playing Lori.
Yeah, there isn't a huge amount of difference between
Yeah,
them.
they went with younger actors and decided just to age them up for the older scenes.
It's like Sean Connery playing Indy's dad. He was only, I think, was it 11 or 12 years older than
Yeah.
Harrison Ford.
I wish he had come back for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg tried to get him, but he's like, I'm busy playing golf. I'm like, shut up and go be in the movie.
Yeah, just do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, you can play golf every damn day of the year. Just don't do it for like one day.
Yeah. Even, just a cameo would have been nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been done in a day.
Yeah.
He was offered the role of Gandalf, but he turned it down because he didn't understand it. Dude.
What's not to understand? Having said that, I thought Ian McKellen did a stupendous job.
I don't want anyone but Ian McKellen. But they say that by turning it down, it cost him over $100 million.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's about, they estimate that's what he would have taken from all of it. I'm like, I hope you like golf that much.
He probably does. Did you ever see that YouTube footage? Ian McKellen was visiting a school. I don't know if it was in the States or here in the UK, but he was in a classroom and there were loads of kids outside the window kind of trying to see in. And he opened the window and said, you need to study for your exams. Do you know why? And they were like, no, because you shall not pass. I thought that was wonderful.
Comedian's really not a very nice person.
Not at all.
Hey, now that's Hooded Justice. Is that the dude's name? Is that right?
I can't remember. Why has he got a noose round his neck?
Because he's Hooded Justice.
Oh.
I mean, don't you put hoods on people before you hang them? I'm not sure, but
I suppose so. He's ultimate justice in that respect, then,
yeah.
is he?
Have you seen the TV show that came out on HBO for the Watchmen?
No. Have you?
No, well, I heard it was really good. It deals with the Watchmen before these guys, the
Okay.
first.
It was just a one-off thing, wasn't it? They were, or what they call a limited series. They weren't looking to do a
Yeah, that's my
season
understanding.
after season.
Yeah. But Trent Reznor and Atticus, I was going to say Atticus Finch, but anyways, they did the score for that, which apparently gets rave reviews. So, Ride of the Valkyries, is this because of Apocalypse Now, you think?
I can only imagine it is.
I thought this was particularly gruesome. The guy's missing a leg, and now he's going to get flamethrowed to death.
I know it's showing you how ruthless this guy is and how I suppose he seems to be enjoying what he's doing, but does it really need to be shown in that kind of detail?
Well, he just tried to assault a lady. Now he's flamethrowing someone, and he's about to shoot another lady through her womb, killing his baby and the girl. I mean,
yeah.
You said the comic isn't quite as graphic.
No. I think the more graphic nature. I think it's Zack Snyder's sensibilities. I think. I'm gonna try and find this scene in the comic book or graphic novel. I think it's only people that read these things that call it graphic novel. Most of the writers and comic book artists call them comic books, I think.
I wonder if he's a nice guy in real life.
Who, Dean Moore, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Or do you reckon they cast him because he is a complete bastard like this?
It seems like nice people do great jobs at playing bastards.
Yeah. Maybe they're just good actors.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a true story, but when Dustin Hoffman was making Marathon Man with Laurence Olivier, there was a scene where he gets tortured by Laurence Olivier, but he needed to look like he was, in a real state. And his way of preparing for that scene was to stay awake for 48 hours. So he would just look awful. And Laurence Olivier said to him, why don't you just try acting, old boy?
So why didn't Dr. Manhattan stop him from killing that girl?
Who knows? Who knows? It's...
Because he's got to know when he whips out that 45 that things are going to go south.
Yeah, I mean, and he was there, so with his perception of time, he must have known that was going to happen. So he could have stopped it.
Yeah.
But as he says himself, I think later on he's becoming less invested or less interested or less connected to humanity. So maybe something like that just didn't really register on his...
I mean, being in the war could have done that, I would think. Although he wasn't in it for very long. I think they said like within like a week, North Vietnam surrendered.
I have no idea where that Vietnam scene comes in the book, if indeed it is in the book.
How did Night Owl ever hook up with Rorschach? Was that discussed in the comic book?
Possibly.
That's good.
I don't know. Well, they were all together as a group. Maybe they just kind of paired off somehow. Maybe they had similar ways of looking at things. I don't know. The pointy-eared guy. Now was that Morlock?
Yes.
Played by
Who
Max
gets
Headroom.
he gets some mentions throughout the film, but they never really say what he used to do except be a supervillain.
Yeah.
And Tyler Bates was with Marilyn Manson for a while?
Really?
Yeah, he was with the band. They met on a production and became friends, and he joined the band for a while.
Wow. What's happening with Marilyn Manson at the moment? Because apparently there was some kind of controversy about his private life. and the way he treated women in the past. Well, it seems to be the same. But
I have no idea, but he's a pretty creepy guy.
oh yeah.
But then you kind of wonder how much of that is just a public act, and
Yeah.
in private he could sit around reading Shakespeare all day in velvet slippers.
It's like you have a look at Alice Cooper, you have a look at his stage act, and you think this guy is a complete nutter. Then you see him interviewed, and he seems like a real sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, the song score in this film totally overshadows any score, doesn't it?
Except for like one or two parts, I think the end where Rorschach gets killed. Spoiler warning. Is
What?
probably sorry. That's the standout piece for me.
You know, superheroes that wear just the eye piece things. You know, when they were figuring out their kind of costumes or uniforms, whatever you want to call them, they're thinking, well, you know, I'm just going to go for those eyepiece things. But I understand I am going to have to glue it onto my face every time I go out. They don't think it through, do they? That's it. Films based on DC comic books, as more and more of them come out, they seem to be getting darker and darker and darker.
Yeah.
And that last Batman film, I enjoyed it. It was a good film, but it was just 3 hours of a really grim, dark story. There was hardly any humor in it whatsoever. And I wasn't expecting a comedy, but this isn't a criticism of that film either. It's just something I've noticed.
I haven't seen it yet.
Having said that, Shazam was a bright and breezy, fun film.
Aquaman.
Aquaman was a bright and breezy, fun film. But again, I'm not a comic book guy. I'd never heard of half the Marvel roster before I saw the films. I'd never heard of Iron Man before I saw the film. So I'm going by what I know from the films.
Well, in the
No
comic
idea.
books, Iron Man was just a hardcore alcoholic for the longest time.
Oh, okay.
They kind of breezed over that in the films.
Did that bother fans? Did it? That they didn't kind of
I don't think
play
so.
out
I
that
think
side
people
of
were
things?
just thrilled to have a successful Iron Man film. He does like to break fingers.
He does.
Like the budget on this film was 120, the box office was 185.4, which you think that's not really great. But the total domestic, just US video sales, DVD, whatever, was 152. That's a lot of DVDs.
That is, yeah.
That's just
So
the States. I couldn't find for the rest of the world.
So it must have eventually kind of scraped its money back. I don't think its
Yeah.
original kind of worldwide 182 would have done
No,
it with
not at
advertising and all
all.
that kind of stuff.
They say you need at least 1.5 times just to break even of what the budget is.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have a look at advertising budgets these days, they're just ridiculous.
Crazy.
So I suppose it's good they didn't compromise and make it a kind of kid-friendly version of it, because that would have.
I think they made a kid-friendly cartoon.
Of Watchmen.
Yeah,
How did you do that?
I have no idea how you do it. They made RoboCop into a cartoon.
It's, oh, they made it into a TV series, didn't they? Which was.
Yep.
Hmm.
So do you think the comedian had a change of heart before he died?
I think so. I think he realised that after all the stuff that he's done, the only person he could call a friend was this so-called villain. I don't know, what was he thinking at the end? Do you know what? He opened that drawer and there was stuff in the drawer there that you saw
Mhm.
quickly. I hate it when you see these. Specifically, I was looking at behind the scenes documentaries on Lord of the Rings. There were just hours and hours of them.
Yeah.
I love all that kind of stuff. I just devour it all. But they're talking to the designers and set designers and prop makers and all this kind of stuff, and they're saying, yeah, see these 38,000 drawers we have in the background of this scene. Every drawer is full of something meaningful. We've handmade these things. We've had craftsmen from all around the world making these things and putting them in these drawers. You will never see what's in these drawers, and it's cost us 38 million. All this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, why? Why have you done this? Why have you spent all this money on stuff that's never going to be seen? I mean, I appreciate this, the attention to detail, but why? Anyway, I needed to get that out of my system.
Is this Rorschach's movie, do you think?
I think, yeah, it is really, isn't it?
Because he's kind of propelling the story along.
You could rename the film Rorschach's Tragedy, or The Tragedy of Rorschach, or Blade Rorschach.
I heard a joke once, and I'm like, just once?
Just one joke. Hilarious. I feel a cartoon segment coming up.
Yeah.
Narrated by Gerard Butler as well.
Really?
Yeah, listen to when it comes up. I'm sure it's going to be now. Ta-da!
I saw an interview with Zack Snyder, and he said that he didn't like how this was incorporated into the film.
He did it, didn't he?
He said his preferred version of the film is the director's cut.
Okay.
Excuse me 1 second. I need to give Big Boy another Kong. I'll be right back.
Wonder how many other people are actually going out while the cartoon's on. Gerard Butler. Had a very small role in Tomorrow Never Dies. He's a British Navy radar operator or something.
What about the British Navy?
Gerard Butler had a very small role in Tomorrow Never Dies.
Who was he in Tomorrow Never Dies?
It was just he was a radar operator on a British Navy ship. Just a tiny kind of blink and you'll miss it. Do you recognize his voice now?
Yeah.
I changed my mind. I do want Dr. Manhattan's powers.
Do. Hello, David. How are you? He was a miscellaneous naval officer at the beginning of the film. Okay.
Thanks, David.
So even when you're like an omnipotent super being, relationships can still be difficult.
Yep. I'd have closed the door as well, so she wouldn't have seen me in the other room. See, if he just let that bounce off his head, he'd have saved that television screen.
He did. He would. David, have you seen The Watchmen? Retro Reel said he had not, which greatly surprised me. I thought he had seen everything. What are your thoughts on The Watchmen, David? We're watching the 12-hour version with the cartoon cut into it.
We're on day 2 of this rewatch.
I've got half my Gatorade left. I hope I can make it through another day. Speaking about Gatorade, oh my lord, it's been so hot. Oh lord.
Well, it was stupendously hot here last week, but it's kind of calmed down now. So,
I'm happy for you.
and it's been raining here today.
It's supposed to thunderstorm here starting tomorrow through the end of the week. But it's still going to be in the 90s.
Yeah. You could do with a good thunderstorm, it sounds like.
David said he's not a big comic book fan in any, or he didn't care for Watchmen in any version. Okay.
I'd just like everybody to know that I wanted to watch the shorter cut of Charlotte's Web tonight, which was 35 minutes long. But Daniel said, no, I've got a better idea.
What's like, how long is like the Daredevil series on Netflix? Is it 12 episodes?
I don't know, is it 12 or 13? I don't know, it might be 12, 10, 12. I don't know. I don't know how long the first one is. We're not watching that all in one night.
Thank you for stopping in, David. Did I email you the tracking number for your CD? I thought I did. Okay. Just thought so. My mind was fried most this weekend. It was a hard weekend to get through from the heat, but it's over with now. So until next weekend. Okay, good. You got the tracking. And Ian, I saw you got the Close Encounters Charles Gerhardt for 99 pence.
Do you know what? That was the first time I tried an eBay auction. I've only ever looked for the buy now option.
Buy now, yeah.
And I saw when you said that you did your thing with you got the LP. I thought I've heard you talk about the Close Encounters suite. I've heard Erik talk about it. And I thought I looked to see if it was on streaming so I could listen to it to see what all the fuss was about. I thought no, I'm gonna have to get a copy of it somehow. So I looked on eBay, and the first thing that came up was that particular auction, and there were no bids, and it said starting bid 99p. So I thought, well, I'll give my top end, which was £3.
That's still a bargain for that CD.
I know. I was prepared to go back in and make my bid higher, but I thought, I'll leave it. It's probably going to go. I thought it's going to go into silly prices or something. I don't know. But we got to Sunday afternoon, and the thing ended, and it said, you've won, or pay the seller now, and it was 99p. It cost more for the postage. It was £1.65 for the postage.
Wow.
So
still sounds cheap.
£2.65 for that CD. So I was quite chuffed with that.
And this is like a brutal alley fight coming up here.
Yeah, again, the detail. I mean, I'm okay with violence in films, but there's sometimes some things just seem a little bit gratuitous. Some of the close-ups of some of the injuries. I just think, does it really need that? You can make things look brutal without having to show graphic
the bone
detail.
Sticking out of the arm. Yeah. Yeah, I think this was one of my stopping points the first time I watched through this film. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch something a bit more lighthearted. He has an odd way of answering questions.
You wouldn't want to go out for a beer with the guy, would you?
No.
You'd just go, yeah, I've got to go. You're boring the tits off me, mate.
Hello, Big Al. Yes, we are watching The Watchmen. Oh, that's nasty. I didn't mean to look at that. Al, do you like a timestamp? I can provide you with one. It's the super duper mega extended cut.
I'm watching it on Blu-ray. It comes on 16 discs.
Oh. Did you enjoy? I'm sorry?
So I was going to say the sound makes it doubly worse as well.
Yeah, and that knife in the neck, I don't need to see that either. Did you like Zack Snyder's Superman film?
I like bits of it, but again, to me, I enjoyed it. I thought it was spectacular, but again, it was just a bit grim. To me, Superman is an upbeat kind of, and he was just a miserable sod all the way through that.
He was.
It didn't feel like Superman. I'm a fan of Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Yeah.
I think that they took it just seriously enough for you to be invested in it. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I thought it was okay, but it didn't capture Superman for me. And who can beat John Williams' score from Superman?
True. David says 78 Superman all the way.
Yay! Now, I've got a question after this scene.
Like, where does he send the people to?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's explained in the book. Does he send them somewhere else? Does he send them all over the place? Or does he just vaporize them?
I mean, could you imagine if he just put them all like the middle of the Hudson Bay or something? I can't swim.
I didn't kill them. They drowned. See, they've just brutally murdered a whole group of people here. And it's just a lark.
It was self-defense, though.
Well, some of them are still moving, so maybe they've just badly injured a whole group of people. Yeah, I suppose self-defense. Yeah, that's okay.
I think I would throw up after doing all that.
Oh, no. I'd be one of the guys on the floor.
Oh,
Probably
yeah,
within
in
the first few seconds.
Actually, I would have been the guy. I'm like, after I saw the first guy get his ass, I'd be like, hey, look, hey, man, I'm going here. No. I don't know these people. I don't like any of y'all.
They made me do it. Yay, cartoon.
Cartoon. Back to the cartoon. And I think this is like a beautiful cartoon, and it's just a dark story. But
as a standalone little kind of grim cartoon, it's a great macabre story. But
cut into the film,
I don't see what relevance it is to the rest of the. There's probably some really pretentious connection, but I just don't understand it myself. I mean, Alan Moore wouldn't have put it in the book if it didn't have some kind of meaning to him within the bigger framework of the story, I suppose.
You know, he disowned this movie. He was not happy with it.
Yeah. And I don't know whether it's because they completely changed the ending or because I think it's fairly close to the book. But Terry Gilliam was involved for a while in trying to put Watchmen together.
Oh, they tried for years to get something done. It just never jived. Yeah, that's just like, yeah, that's even just worse. Yeah, that, yeah. Did you see my Mothra LP that came? Isn't that awesome artwork? Look at that.
Have you listened to it yet?
Not yet. I listened to Bride of Frankenstein and then Jacob's Ladder, and now I'm on tap for Mothra tonight, probably. Rose and I are having dinner tonight after work, so I guess when I get home, I'll pop Mothra on if I'm not too exhausted.
Nice.
Yeah, that's.
Just be thankful it's a cartoon, Daniel.
Oh, eternally. I mean, this is kind of like Castaway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if he had taken the bodies that washed up on the shore and made a raft with them, I mean.
Yeah, that would have been a different film.
Yes, yes, it would have. Did you think about joining the Navy before you joined the Army?
No. I think it's because my father was in the Army, so I didn't really think about or look into any of the other services. So.
Does the Navy have more of a good reputation than the Army in Great Britain, or is it just because whenever I think about Britain, I always think about the Royal Navy and Horatio Hornblower and Battle of Trafalgar. That was a while ago. So
you think about history?
Yeah.
No. I think it was just the fact that I was brought up as an Army brat. You know, I was, you know, the son of a soldier. That's all I knew up until the year I joined the Army. So yeah, it was there was never anything else but the Army. So, and it was a spur of the moment decision to join the Army. It wasn't something I always wanted to do. So.
What about the French Foreign Legion?
Yeah, no. I'd seen too many French, films about the French Foreign Legion to go, yeah, that's not for me.
No, no.
Definitely not. I
And he
wonder
goes
if
to Mars because why not?
Yeah, I wonder if he sent all those people to Mars as well, so they're just
Oh
constantly
crap,
going to.
that would be bad. Now we're getting the Philip Glass piece.
Right. I do remember this music from the film. Now it started, but again, it's not Tyler Bates, is it?
No, this is Philip Glass. I think this is French. Purette, Logo, and Profecies. Um,
Is that how it's all pronounced? Is it?
I can tell you how it's spelled. Pruit space Lgoe. And I mean, it looks like prophecies to me. It seems like it's spelled the same.
I would
But
have no idea how to pronounce it either.
yeah, all I know about French is French fries and French kissing, and croissant.
Same,
But
same here.
um, but yeah, this is by Philip Glass, who's one of the most influential composers of the 20th century, they say. But he's also a film composer. He did The Truman Show, The Hours, my personal favorite, Candyman.
He
Surprisingly,
did.
Fantastic Four is the one that completely bombed.
He didn't. Did he? He didn't write original music for the Truman Show. Didn't they use music from other
Pieces.
films? Yeah, pieces of his that.
Hmm.
But again, that's the music I remember from the Truman Show. I think
I'll
they
have to
used
look, I'll
music
have to
from.
look at it. I never saw The Truman Show, so
Oh, it's a good film.
okay. He also did Hamburger Hill, which is not about hamburgers.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. He did that score. Yeah.
And he recently did a Dracula, I guess you'd call it a rescore to Dracula, maybe?
For which Dracula? One of the silent ones, or
Yeah, the silent one. I think Entrada released it on CD. I've got it. I
okay.
just don't have it handy.
Have you listened to it?
Yeah, I liked it.
This whole little segment about his backstory is quite interesting. Quite like this.
Yeah, I think she's more attractive than the other girl, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
And I'm guessing she's smart. She's a physicist. I mean, are there any dumb physicists out there?
Yeah, there are probably some socially awkward physicists, but I
Yeah.
don't know if
Oh,
they're
yeah. Yeah, lots of
how
them. Sure.
yeah. He wasn't introduced. She came up to him by the looks of it.
Yeah. Have you ever taken a watch apart?
No. Have you?
No. I took my Transformers apart one time. I never could get them back together. It was, I should have just taken like one apart, but I took them like all apart, and then all the pieces were on the floor. And it's like, okay,
Hey, I'm never playing with that again.
yeah. I guess that's kind of what got me out of Transformers, because after that, my mother refused to buy me anymore. She's like, no,
They are insanely complicated, though, aren't they?
they are. And there's like parts inside of parts,
Yeah.
and springs and screws, and it's like,
Is this still Philip Glass? Is it?
yes, I'm pretty sure. It's like an eight,
So-
9 minute piece.
It sounds like it. Be interesting to see what Christopher Nolan's new film does with the Manhattan Project
When is that coming out?
next year, I think.
Have you seen the trailer for the new Black Panther film?
No.
It dropped this past weekend at Comic-Con.
All right, I'll have to dig that out. Interesting to see what they do with it because they said they're not recasting T'Challa.
He's dead in the film. That's stated in the trailer.
Really?
Mhm.
So somebody else is going to take on the mantle of Black Panther then?
Yeah, I would imagine so. Looks like the Submariner is going to be the bad guy.
I don't know what that is.
He's the Marvel version of Aquaman, except he doesn't talk to fish.
Oh, good.
Not that I remember. I don't remember that ever happening in comics. Yeah, that's kind of gross.
Yeah. Again, I
And
can't remember
give us a
this.
shot of the ceiling, please, Zack Snyder. Yeah, that's just. Oh.
Yeah. Is that really needed? Do you
Would
think
you
this
just
would have?
walk up? Oh, go ahead.
I was say, do you think this would have worked better as a mini series? You know, if somebody had spent the amount of money they spend on TV shows nowadays, you know, and then done it over maybe kind of 8 hours or so,
I think it could
rather,
work as a miniseries. Very
yeah,
well. Without the cartoon.
without the cartoon.
Without
I
the
don't see the
cartoon.
point of that. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, so like, if you were Dr. Manhattan, would you just like float around all the time, just being all blue, or would you just like wear clothes?
I don't know. I would probably wear clothes because I don't know if his whole consciousness is changing and he's thinking differently, but I mean, I wear clothes in my own house. I don't walk around naked
Yeah,
because that's me. That's the way I live my life. I think I would dress normally.
I wouldn't. I'd have like this jumpsuit with a cape, and like a helmet with a giant feather or something.
Yeah, maybe you could draw a picture of that and then let us see that sometime.
Okay, yeah, do that right now. Man, all the stuff Eric misses out on while he's in Newfoundland.
Yeah, 17-hour films. He's really missing out on this one.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's what I imagined it might be.
Yeah. I'm gonna put Big Boy outside. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Do what you need to do. I hope Big Boy is a dog. It's not like a gimp kind of affair he's got going on. Comedian is just a filthy, dirty old man.
He is a dirty man.
Yeah. That's my superhero.
Wow, that's much better than mine.
Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the character's name.
Gator. Lieutenant Gator.
Did you watch all the Battlestar Galactica?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you a fan?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Isn't everybody?
I didn't much care for it, to tell you the truth.
No?
No, I loved it. It was superb. It's one of my top 10 TV series of all time.
Like legit top 10 or like
No,
Birdman?
no, legit.
Legit? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the Blu-ray?
That's Blu-ray. It's got all the Battlestar Galactica, all the kind of spin-off little films, and Caprica on it as well. So yeah, it's quite a big thing. Yeah, loved it.
Is there a 4K version of Battlestar Galactica?
Don't think so.
No.
I'm not sure whether 4K would do it justice, to tell you the truth.
Hmm.
Because it was. I mean, it was filmed digitally, but it was they had quite a gritty aesthetic. So
Yeah. And David is impressed with our artistic abilities. Thank you.
I wouldn't be. This is very reminiscent of
Dr. Strangelove?
Doctor Strangelove. Thank you. Which was designed by Ken Adam, who
Really?
designed lots of James Bond films.
I would hope people having this discussion in real life would not be so cavalier about it.
Yeah. Seems to be the thing in a lot of modern films to desaturate the color from films. I know it's an artistic choice, and you know, it's something the filmmaker wants to do, but I get a bit tired of it sometimes.
Well, you know, someone starts it and someone's like, well, yeah, I think I like to do that.
Yeah.
Then everyone kind of jumps on the bandwagon, and then like it's like 15 years later, someone else decides to do something else.
Yeah. See, that bit of violence was okay. It
Yeah.
didn't show the kind of,
Although I think that might have been a kill shot the way his head hit that sink.
yeah. I'm always amazed in films when somebody gets hit in the face with a wrench or something, and they kind of immediately bounce back. You think, well, in real life they'd probably kill them.
Are you familiar with Lee Iacocca in Great Britain? He came in and he saved Chrysler from bankruptcy.
Oh, right. Okay.
He was people thought he would run for president, but he never did. But he saved Chrysler completely from oblivion.
So a bit of a whiz kid then.
I'm sorry?
A bit of a whiz kid.
Yeah, he was a very good businessman.
This is another really graphic scene that wasn't
Yeah, it's coming up.
graphic in the comic book. Just the kind of lingering on details that you don't need to linger that long on them.
Was Iacocca in Ford versus Ferrari? I haven't seen that film. I feel like I say that a lot around here. I haven't seen that film. Like every time I say that, take a drink of something.
I have seen that film. It's a very good film. I would recommend it.
H. Boomer raves about it. He said it was his favorite
Yeah.
film the year it came out.
It's one of those old-fashioned kind of. Is it biopic? I hate that term, biopic, but it's just a really, really good film. Looks absolutely fantastic as well.
And it's got Batman in it.
It's got Batman in it, yeah. And it's directed by the guy that's directed the new Indiana Jones film.
James Miracle.
That's not quite right, but yeah. What's his name? James Mangold.
Mangold.
Mariolda gloves. Avert your gaze.
Yeah. He's out of bullets now.
Now, is he putting the poison capsule in his mouth at that stage?
Yeah. Where does one buy potassium cyanide pills at? Do they have them at CVS or Walgreens, or they behind the counter, or do you have to have a prescription for them?
There's a chain of chemists here in the UK called Boots. I think you can buy them there.
Really?
No, I don't think.
Okay. I was like, dang, y'all hardcore. Olive. Stuff. My Quartet Records shipment is supposed to arrive today.
What record shipment?
Quartet?
All right. Where's Quartet? Is that Spain?
Are they Spain? I thought they were France. But maybe they are Spain.
I think Music Box is France. I don't know. I get confused with those two.
I just know I couldn't pass up free shipping with them because oh Lord, shipping's horrible.
Was it free shipping? Was it?
Yeah, with the sale. If you order 8 items or more, you get free shipping.
All right, 8 items or more. Right.
Yeah. And when I first saw, I'm like, do they have 8 things that I want? And I just started adding. I'm like, okay, I need to drop this down from 20 something to a bit more manageable.
I like your message when you say you might have gone a little bit cray.
Yeah. I think I ordered 12 or 13, something like that.
Sometimes things from Quartet turn up on Amazon here in the UK at fairly decent prices. You know, kind of maybe just £1 more than you'd buy them direct from Quartet, but it would be cheaper getting it from Amazon because you're not paying that ridiculous shipping charge.
I know Entrada will a lot of times have a selection from them.
We don't get Entrada selections on Amazon here, unfortunately.
Okay, Quartet is based in Madrid, Spain. Okay.
Thanks, David.
I am kind of amazed he couldn't smell the blood.
Yeah. And with Rorschach's experience, you'd think he'd know what blood smelled like.
I know what blood smells like. I live with dogs.
With the number of dogs you have, would you call your house a zoo?
No.
No. How many dogs would you have to call your house a zoo?
I don't know. I never thought about it. But I only have 8.
That's a zoo.
That's a zoo. I don't have any other animals.
It's a
Maybe
very specific zoo.
Nature preserve?
Nature preserve. Oh, yeah, that's better. Captain America did a very similar thing in one of the Captain America films. Probably not quite as violent, but
yeah. I don't think he set anyone on fire.
No.
Speaking about being set on fire, it was still hot this past weekend, still hot. And I was at the grocery store getting a sandwich for supper last night, and the cops walking through, and I'm like, man, I don't know how you do it wearing all that gear all day when it's 100+ outside. I can't imagine.
Did you say you were thinking that, or did you say that to him?
I was thinking it. He was like over there, and I was over here. But
all right.
If I'd been closer, I'd been like, man, I don't know how you, because I know that chest plate is heavy, and then the gear belt is heavy. It's just like, God, that's just a lot of stuff to be wearing.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed in the wintertime, I hardly ever see a cop wearing a jacket.
No.
It's rare to see them wearing a coat. I mean, I went through what 3 shirts yesterday. It's just, I'll be glad
Wow.
fall gets here.
What are temperatures like in winter in Alabama?
Usually October's pretty nice. November's pretty nice. January, February are usually the coldest months. We'll have a run of maybe some teens in the lows and highs in the 20s for a couple days, but usually wintertime, I would say it's gonna probably be like between 35 and 40 with rain most of the time.
I need to look that up just to
Yeah.
bring it into UK. Oh, cartoon again. Excellent.
Yes, cartoon. He's got cartoon vomit coming out.
Delightful.
And I'm not really sure this would work, strapping dead bodies to your raft to help it float. I don't.
Unless he's thinking that as they start decomposing, they're going to get bloated with gases, and maybe that will provide buoyancy.
That's only good for a couple of days, though.
Yeah. So I don't think he's thought it through, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's a cartoon. So
It's a cartoon. All right.
you say 20 degrees winter
Yeah.
time. Oh, that's a decent. That's -6 in centigrade or Celsius. Yeah, that's cold. That's
It's
really
cold.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recognize that voice as well. That's Jared Harris,
Hmm.
Richard Harris's son.
And I'm guessing this is like a hallucination on his part.
This is like a gothic horror story.
Yeah.
Again, I don't really. I don't see the point of it.
Have you ever read Solomon Kane?
No, I've seen the film and I'd never heard of Solomon Kane before.
Okay. Well, the
Again,
guy that wrote Conan the Barbarian wrote Solomon Kane. He was for those who don't know, he was a Puritan badass who went around kicking asses of all kinds of demonic creatures and just generally bad people. This kind of has some Solomon Kane vibes to it. So, do you like this doctor?
do I like him?
I mean, you think he's trying to help, or you think he's just trying to make a name for himself?
I think he's just doing his job. I don't think he's. I think probably genuinely trying to help, but
And we get some. Rorschach did not have a good childhood.
not at all. Did he just? He had a mallet? Did you see that?
I
It
thought
looked
that
like
was
he
a
had a
school
mallet.
book. It was a school books. You wrapped the
It looked
belt
like,
around school books.
but briefly, it looked like a mallet.
Yeah.
That's what you could use for getting your records back.
Records, yeah.
What are those two films about the American Civil War? Is it Gettysburg and there's another one?
Glory?
No, they were kind of really long films.
Oh,
Do you know the ones I'm talking about?
yeah.
I've got them both here somewhere, but what was the other one? Gettysburg is one.
Gods and Generals.
Yeah, Gods and Generals.
Yeah. Yeah, David, Gods and Generals, yes.
Thank you, David. Yeah, should do those both in one sitting because that was only 9 hours or so.
We're going to wait for Eric to come back. That one.
I don't think he's ever coming back now.
He said he doesn't really want to leave Newfoundland.
I'm not surprised the way it looks up there. I'm sure that gets cold in winter.
I'm sure.
Do you remember this scene?
Yeah, it's a pretty disturbing scene.
Yeah.
I feel like Zack Snyder could have made it even more disturbing if he had put in a little bit more effort.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. You could have done it all in daylight and in slow motion.
Yeah. And maybe it was like, when he like runs his fingers through the blood, it could have like a flashback that he's imagining in his head of the little girl getting murdered,
Yeah.
Come on, Zachy. Put some effort into it.
Have you ever seen Psycho?
Yeah. Have you seen Psycho?
Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Yeah, yeah. Did you like it or?
It felt like it was two movies to me. You follow the girl for the first half, and then you completely switch over to Norman Bates for the second half. I liked the Bernard Herrmann film score.
Score was great, but it's one of those films. By the time I got around to seeing it, I don't know why. People had said things about it. I kind of knew what happens in it, and it didn't have the same kind of power to shock or to surprise.
Yeah, I'm sure if I had seen it for the first time in the 60s when it first came out, it would have been totally different.
Yeah. See, it should have stopped there.
I mean, he's already dead. I mean, you're just, you know. Okay, David's got a recommendation. Hitchcock with Anthony Hopkins playing Alfred Hitchcock. How old's the film, David? Is it fairly recent?
I think it is a fairly recent one. Anthony Hopkins is always good as well.
Yeah. Oh, I think I missed the comment from David. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes, they did have a good film score by Hans Zimmer. I enjoyed both of those greatly. I didn't like the films. I liked the score from Hans Zimmer.
I quite enjoyed the films. They're quite fun.
And this is like really just horrible in so many ways. Yeah. Although honestly, I think the skin would just start peeling off from all that. But I'm glad they didn't show that. I'm okay with them not showing that.
Going by what we've seen in the past in this film, I'm surprised they didn't show that in more detail. I'm glad they didn't, but
I'm gonna have to watch like some Sesame Street when we get done.
or Muppets. Let's watch a Muppet show.
Yeah, Muppets. Ooh. This is a pretty cool looking ship.
It is.
Oh, Hitchcock's from 2012, and now stars Helen Mirren.
2012. My God, 10 years ago.
It's not that
time
long
fly.
ago. This is like 1995 now, isn't it?
Well, it hasn't come out then. We've still got a few years to wait.
Yeah. I hate it when I'm crashing at someone's house and I accidentally set it on fire.
It always happens. What were your favorite films as a kid, when you were about 10, 11, 12? What would, if something came on television, was there a film that you would never miss?
Star Wars, Empire, Superman 2. I love Superman 2. Indiana Jones, Star Trek 2. I didn't care for the first Star Trek at that age.
What about now? Star Trek the motion picture. Have you changed it?
I have better appreciation of it.
I saw Star Trek the motion picture when I saw it in 1980, 81 on video, a really bad video copy, and I was about 12, 13, and I loved it. I loved the mystery of it and the reveal at the end. It just blew me away.
Yeah, I first saw Star Trek the motion picture in the movie theater. I was 4.
Wow.
Or 5. What year did it come out? 70.
79.
I was 5, and it was like, because I'd seen the TV show on the TV in repeats, And it's like, this is boring. I fell asleep. Oh man, Star Trek motion picture in 4K is amazing. It would have to be amazing. Wow.
Well, I don't know, because even though we have Paramount Plus here in the UK, we don't have Star Trek the Motion Picture, the director's edition.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it is coming out on 4K disc in September. So but Star Trek the Motion Picture does have an okay score.
Yeah, it's got a wonderful score. But when I was 5, I was not the age to appreciate such things. And David is correct. Fathom Events in the U.S. is bringing back Star Trek 2 in movie theaters for one weekend. I have my ticket. Do you have yours?
I don't live in the US.
Well, that's true, but they might have it in the UK.
I'm sure it'll be released somewhere here.
Or you could fly over to the U.S. to watch a movie.
Probably cheaper to see it locally, where I can maybe get a
Probably
bus
so.
or something.
Probably so. But if I had, my Lear jet, I would send it to Edinburgh and be like, pick up Siri and fly them over.
Is it in the shop, is it?
Yeah, it's in the shop. They got to put new tires on it. You know how it is.
I saw Star Trek 2 in a small kind of privately owned cinema in a town called Kendal, which is just south of the Lake District in Cumbria, which is in northern England, on a rainy afternoon in whatever month it was. It must have been August or September 1982. I was camping with my dad at the time, and it was torrential rain all day. We weren't going to sit in the tent all day waiting for it to stop, so we went to the cinema, and it was Star Trek 2. We had no plans to go and see it. It just happened to be the film that was on at the time, and it was wonderful. It was fantastic, and I shed a tear at the end.
I think everybody did.
It's still a fantastic death scene. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Would you say it's maybe the best death scene in a movie?
It's going to be up there.
What
It's
would
one that
top
affected
that?
me.
People in the chat, if you have any idea what can top that, please say something, because I have no clue.
E.T. dying always gets me.
Yeah, but E.T. comes back.
I know, but just for that moment, E.T.
That
died.
moment in time, that's true. Hey, it's that guy
Again,
from Game of Thrones.
he's not in Game of Thrones, is he? You're just saying that about any little people, aren't you?
I was being funny.
Again, this scene is way more graphic in the film than it is in the book.
Does the guy not get his arms chopped off in the comic?
No, they kill him, but they just leave his body hanging there. They don't. I don't know why he felt, oh, let's chop his arms off.
I guess that's Zack Snyder for you.
Yeah, I think that's his thing.
Did the other guy get killed from getting his head smashed on the commode?
Yeah, I think that happened, but you know.
course, I guess in the film they kind of make it sound like he got electrocuted, but I think if you took that hit on the commode that hard to the head, I think that's without immediate medical attention, you're going to cerebral hemorrhage to death.
Yeah.
And this is kind of gross when she just peels faces off.
Very well done, special effects wise, or visual
Yeah.
effects wise. What's the best nuclear explosion you've seen in a film?
Terminator 2?
Terminator 2 is a very good one, yeah. I know I'm probably going to get thrashed for this, but I do love the image. Don't hate me for this, but I do love the image of Indiana Jones walking up to look at the nuclear explosion in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I just think it's quite a stunning visual.
Well, I do not have a problem with that refrigerator scene. Did not bother me.
Neither do I. It's just a fun thing. It's not meant to be taken seriously. But there are so many people on YouTube going, "So yeah, he wouldn't survive that. He'd
I don't think he would have survived the raft out of the airplane Temple of Doom.
No.
Yeah,
But just as an image of him walking up to the top of the hill and that mushroom cloud, I just think it's quite stunning. I don't think you could be quite that close to a nuclear explosion, but
well, I certainly wouldn't want to be that close.
No.
And I will say this: where I live, we've always been in the top 10 first strike since the 80s. So
what, in an area where you'd be hit?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we've always been in the top 10 first strike. So
it's always good to be in the top 10. So
I suppose so. I mean,
no matter how apocalyptic.
I just hope they use a big enough bomb if they ever do anything.
Yeah.
Don't use one of those small ones.
You don't want to be you don't want to be on the edge of it and survive. You just want to boop, gone.
I also don't want to be on the part where like the building falls in and I get like 3rd-degree burns all over my body.
Yeah.
Okay, good Destiny. Roy Batty and Blade Runner. Okay, Arnold and Terminator 2. Boromir and Lord of the Rings. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I do like that Boromir scene. I think that's really well done.
I could take out Arnold and Terminator 2. Yeah, I think that's a good list.
Yeah. Nice one, David.
Critical Drinker did a video some time ago about like his top death scenes in movies. I'm trying to remember what they were. The only one I remember was Ralph Fiennes was a soldier who got like ganged up on by some other people, and I don't remember the name of the film. I forget what the other ones were entirely.
So rather than emotional scenes, he was going for people just dying in films.
Balls to walls fighting, yeah.
Right.
Maximus and Gladiator, I guess that would make the list.
Do you know what? That never had the emotional impact that it should have done for me when I saw that film.
Do you know why?
No, I don't. I'm not bashing the film. I love the film.
Yeah.
But that it just didn't. It just didn't do it for me. because I think I knew by that stage it was going to be inevitable that he was going to die. So there was,
Yeah, but he kind of got what he wanted. He killed
yeah,
Commodus and
on that level, him
got to
going
his
to
family.
the afterlife and meeting,
Yeah,
you know, that I love that. I love that.
yeah.
That probably happened. Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. And I this sounds good. So wait, I do have a soft spot for Sean Connery's death scene in The Untouchables.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
And it's not just because of him. It's Kevin Costner's reaction to it as well that makes it. He's going, no, not this man, not this man. And he manages to give them a last bit of information of you know helping to solve whatever they're doing at the time. I watched the new Doctor Strange film.
Did you like it?
I did. I enjoyed it. It's good fun. There were some interesting cameos in the multiverse as well. I won't say anything for anybody that hasn't seen it, but
I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one.
I I probably enjoyed it on the same level. I think.
So I watched a YouTube documentary on making this film. They said that the mock-up of this weighed 1,100 pounds.
Of this owl ship.
Hmm.
Did they put it on a set of scales?
I guess if there's like a life-size mock-up on it, I'm like, what happened to it? Can I buy it on eBay?
Yeah. You could put your ET inside it.
Good, good. It's so tempting to order that.
Again, when I text you back, what would you do with it? Where would you put it?
I'm afraid the wolf pack would attack it and destroy it, to be honest. Mallory will go
Shit,
like running around with ET's head in her mouth.
that'd be horrific.
Cricket will have like a foot over in the corner and on it. And it's like,
The shipping costs were quite eye-watering as well.
115. Yeah. To that point, if you get it and you decide to ship it back, you're spending $230 just to look at it.
If anybody in the chat is wondering what we're talking about,
Yeah. Life-size ET. Child not included.
Another death scene I like is Always when
When
Richard
Richard
Dreyfuss.
Dreyfuss dies,
Yeah, because
yeah,
it's like that.
it is.
You know, you know that he's going to die, but you don't think it's going to be that point, and he just has that kind of weird kind of
Yeah.
head to the engine, then boom, it's gone.
No, hang on one second. I'm sorry.
He's going to go and bring the gimp back up from the cellar. I don't think he is. I don't think he has a gimp. I don't know. It's a nice song. I don't know how to comment on a sex scene. They're having sex. Birdman left just before the scene. I can't remember who sings this. The first time I became aware of this song was in Shrek.
Sorry, he got way too hot outside in the yard.
Which one was that?
Big boy.
Is that his actual name, Big Boy?
Mhm.
Who sings Hallelujah?
Leonard Cohen.
That's it, thank you, Leonard Cohen. It was just a sex scene between Night Owl and Silk Spectre, and Hallelujah is playing in the background. I couldn't remember for the life of me who sang it.
He was breaking fingers. So how does he get killed in the comic book?
I know that the same thing happens. He gets his arms tied behind the bars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, to me, this is just totally unnecessary. This.
Yep, avert your eyes.
I say I don't mind violence, and sometimes graphic violence is okay if it's, but just some things are just. Yeah. So I don't know why, but they kill the big fat guy, and just leave him hanging on the gate, and then they cut through the bars. So he's in the way, but rather than having be alive, and I don't know why they kill him. but they just leave him hanging on the prison bars.
Yeah, that's a definite kill blow right there. That's you're not going to split open that portion and live to tell about it. That's
Yeah, I think he's just twitching after that. Superhero landing, nice.
I would love to see someone who could do that in high heels like that.
I, people doing physical things and in high heels in films, it just is. Why? It's just I don't know how people walk in high heels
I
and
don't
do.
either.
It must be so uncomfortable to be standing on tiptoe. Just
I wonder why they didn't make this fight here overly graphic. It's just pretty straight up punching and kicking.
yeah, maybe he just didn't have time or money to. I'm sure he. If I don't know. You see, I think these two enjoy this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Whereas I don't think Rorschach would just go through the shortest route through that lot and
he
do the
would.
minimum to get through them because he wants to go from A to B. They want to go from A to B, but they're going to have a laugh and some fun getting from A to B.
Some like it hot. I'm trying to rack my brain to figure out what that's about. Is that a
Uh,
Elizabeth Taylor film?
no, it's Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis dressing up as women.
Really? Hmm.
It's an old Billy Wilder film.
Is it a good film?
It's a classic film. It's been years since I've seen it.
I will check into it. I mean, usually I'm game for anything if someone else is willing to come along for the ride.
And if somebody mentions a film, it more than likely you haven't seen it. So
Haha. It's the American Film Institute #1 comedy of all time. Okay.
what does that mean? That means a bunch of people that think they're professional critics or whatever have said,
Yes,
yes,
that's
this,
exactly what it means. It's
yeah.
exactly what
When did this come out? Was it 2009? That seems to ring a bell.
I think so. It was the
Well,
next
not
year
not this.
after the
Yeah,
Dark Knight.
yeah, yeah. 2009.
I think it came out in February.
It's going to be really cold on Mars as well, I would imagine.
I would think so. Oh, the Global Pasta Lovers Association highly recommends the film as well.
Oh well, got to be good.
Done deal.
The Global Pasta Lovers Association. Is that a thing? Oh, great. I think there's a cartoon bit coming up.
All right. I mean, you gotta appreciate the fact that these guys all dress alike. You know, that shows dedication.
But have they actually looked in a mirror to see what they look like?
Hmm.
I miss phone cords.
What's that?
You know, you could wrap your finger around it and have your finger going down the coil, the middle of the coil.
I actually like his apartment. It's kind of cozy.
Who? The old Night Owl's apartment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got lots of books lying around and a little fireplace going.
Do you know what? I think books in an apartment or a room, just shelves with lots of books on, just makes
Mhm.
it so much warmer, so much more personal. I'm not one of these people for, sparse kind of
Yeah,
minimalistic.
yeah, I'm not either. Huh. I think this is a good scene. Like you can't make a superhero stop being a superhero.
Yeah, it's still it's part of his DNA. I wonder if Tyler Bates scored scenes that, I mean, they had obviously classical music put over this one. I wonder if he actually scored this and then it was replaced later, or whether it was all planned out where this kind of music was going to go and where his score was going to go.
I would think a lot got changed in the edit for this film.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good scene between these two.
Yeah.
Because Night Owl really kind of is Rorschach's only friend.
Yeah. That's why Rorschach keeps coming back here.
Yeah.
It's quite a sweet little scene, actually.
Yeah.
Digital water has come a long way over the past 20 years. I remember seeing The Perfect Storm, thinking, "Wow, this looks really great," and that kind of looks dated now. And what do you think of the last Star Wars film? There's when they see the remains of the Death Star in that kind of rolling sea. I think that sea looks absolutely amazing. Somebody did that to somebody else in a film recently. Blade Runner 2049. Have you seen that?
Hmm?
You
Yep.
know when what's her name? Love.
Yeah.
Crushes the glass in her hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was a mean little replicant.
I thought she was great. No, I know. I'd like to get to know her, but just as a character, I thought she was great.
Oh yeah, it's character, yeah.
Yeah.
But she was like, damn woman, you're brutal. This is like really grody. Yeah, when I saw this was like an hour or so longer than the other version, I thought, oh, there's gonna be like some scenes of Night Owl going after those gang people. But no. Just cartoon.
I think the majority of this, the running time is bolstered by the cartoon.
So I haven't seen the theatrical cut, but I think the director's cut is probably the better.
The optimum one, yeah.
Yeah.
I take it you've got your phone plugged in.
Yes.
For this one, yeah.
Yes.
Because now you're doing the.
If not, I would be at getting low on power. I'm still at 100% because I'm plugged in.
Nice. Next time we do one of these, I'm going to try and do it with my phone.
What are you doing on now?
I'm doing it with my iPad.
Okay.
I mean, I know it works, but it would be easier to have the iPad to look up stuff rather than. I love this whole crystalline structure thing he builds. I don't know what the point of it is, but it looks fantastic. That's quite an image.
Yeah. Wouldn't it have been cool they got Anthony Hopkins to play Nixon?
That would have been fantastic. And then they could have used that opening track, John Williams track.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, Cedric Moss, how are you today? We're watching the 18-hour version of Watchmen. Get you a timestamp if you need one.
Timestamp day 4.
Day 4. We're at 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 40 seconds. So
and there's another day to go. Another 55 minutes to go. That's the thing. If people are rewatching this, at least they get the chance to, if they need to have a bathroom break or do, they can just pause everything.
Pause. That's right. Yes, Edwards, we're watching movies because Mr. Erik Woods is on his 5-week vacation to Newfoundland.
And Birdman is saving up for when he comes back with more suggestions of what to buy.
Lord. I got to be good for the next couple months. I got that trip to Arizona coming up.
Arizona. What's happening in Arizona?
I went last October to the Grand Canyon, and it's just so beautiful out there. And I was like, my mother needs to come out here. And I talked to her, and I said, why don't we make a trip of it? So my sister and my mother are going out this October, and we're going to hit the Grand Canyon, Sedona, and Flagstaff, and Williams, and my mother's not getting any younger, and she's kind of getting to the point that she wants to make memories with my sister and I, because you only have so many years left. So I think next year we're going to go to Glacier National Park, but this year we're doing the Grand Canyon. So I'm excited. Thanks for stopping by, David. We'll see you later. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, David. See you soon.
Retro says if we're noticing the time, it means we aren't fully engaged in it. I'm pretty engaged. It hasn't been that bad. I thought this was going to kill me to do a 3.5 hour movie, but it hasn't been horrible.
I haven't blinked in over 2 hours.
It's true.
No, I have blinked.
Oh, Sedermost said he's trying to get into the TV show. What was the controversy surrounding it? I vaguely recall when it came out. It just kind of like blipped on my radar, and that was about it. I'm kind of intrigued by it, though. I may end up checking it out. I would go off how it's kind of cold that he killed all his people working for him, but he's about to wipe out several cities across the world, so there's
Does he
that.
wipe out several cities? Or is it just New York?
New York, Moscow, Hong Kong,
Oh, right.
I think a few others. Do we still call Hong Kong Hong Kong, or
I think so. Oh, great. More cartoon coming up, I think.
cartoons? Woo! Okay, the TV show was heavy on racial division and political division and police hatred during the time of the Black Lives Matter riots. Okay. Hmm. Could could you separate the real world occurrences from the TV show, or it was just too wrong time just to try to watch it? I think this is the last of the cartoon bit, though, right?
I hope so. So this head should be called Wilson.
It should. It should also be like almost completely decayed by now. Cedric says not many people appreciated the show considering the actual problems people were facing from both sides of the fight. Yeah, if entertainment could be entertaining, I'm okay telling a moral or I'm okay with allegory, but so many people nowadays that just seems lost on them. They just got to beat you over the head with their political viewpoint, and it does get old. You have a good evening, Retro Reels. We got to get you on a show sometime soon.
Neil, good night. Thanks for the kind comments earlier on as well.
He says he may come back tomorrow and still find us here.
Probably will still be here. Tales of the Black Freighter 2.
Oh, says the show is reportedly woke. Mm. That's sad.
You know, I thought watching this kind of 13-hour cut tonight would maybe I'd see it from a new perspective and understand why this Black Freighter cartoon was in there, but I still have no idea why it's in here.
I don't either, and I'm like trying so hard to like sort it out, and I just can't. And this whole story's in the comic book as well.
Yeah.
Did it make sense in the comic book?
No, it's one of those things I skipped because it just, again, reading the comic book, I didn't understand why it was in here. I mean, the animation is it's fantastic, and
Yeah, I think it looks great. Cedric says, do you think it's interesting this is a 2009 movie set in the 1980s? What effect do you think this may have had on the movie and its production? I think the world was still pretty much sane in 2009. I don't think we'd gone crazy yet. Um,
crazy in what way?
Everyone's got to pick a tribal side and stick to it. If you don't agree with me, you're evil.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're kind of dumping on Richard Nixon a little much, but I know he's like the favorite president to dump on in America. He did some bad things, but he wasn't Satan incarnate. I think he comes off a little bad in this film, but
I'm just saying, when was the actual comic book written?
it's written in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see if there's a date on here. Must be.
This is like the first big deconstruction of superheroes. But I appreciate that they created their own superheroes instead of just putting in ones we already know and love and then deconstructing them.
Yeah.
I guess you could say the comedian's kind of like Captain America meets the Punisher, but he's not Captain America and he's not the Punisher. He's his own thing.
No. They are their own distinct kind of superheroes.
I guess you could say Night Owl's kind of like Batman because he's got money and all these gadgets, but he's not Batman. I guess Dr. Manhattan would be kind of like a Superman, maybe?
Yeah, so it was published in 86, 87, so it was probably written about the same year that this actually takes place.
Yeah. And I like Ian and I said, like 80s, like we were afraid of nuclear war. Everyone was. I don't think you could make this movie today. I think it would be a lot different from this.
How would it be different, do you think?
Don't think it would be as graphic, for starters.
No. But to tell you the truth, I don't understand why this is so graphic. It's not as if the comic book was graphic in its violence like this is. But as you said earlier, that's probably a Zack Snyder thing.
Yeah. Was 300 excessively graphic?
It was quite brutal. But again, probably slightly more comic booky because it did that kind of that slow motion, speed up slow motion, kind of almost freeze frame kind of. So when it comes to score music rather than songs for this film, the standout piece that we've both commented on was not actually written by Tyler Bates. It was Philip Glass.
Yeah, I think Rorschach's death is
All right. Well, yeah. Well, okay.
the
Well,
best piece that we're going to get from score wise.
is that a Tyler Bates bit of score? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, why didn't that just impale her? I mean, come on, that would have been like.
That was almost like a Brian De Palma scene. Brian De Palma, over a number of films, had this great knack of doing an action scene or a moment that probably takes just a few seconds in real time, but stretching it out over kind of a couple of minutes or a minute or so in slow motion. But that's a great use of slow motion now.
What do I think about this movie? I enjoy the director's cut. I don't enjoy this version with the cartoon spliced into it. I think the cartoon takes me out of the picture.
Yeah, I just don't see the point of the cartoon sections.
And some of the violence is a little graphic for my sensibilities. Oh, what I think about the portrayal of Vigilante,
Vigilante, yeah, that word.
Yeah, that word right there. It's probably more realistic than most comic books.
But I think that's because of the graphic nature of the film.
I mean, would we really want superheroes to exist in the real world?
It would be. I think it would be chaos, wouldn't it? So he's not going to fix his broken crystal thing. That's real. There is a real smiley face on Mars.
What is the superhero code of morality and conduct? I mean, like Captain America's definitely got one. So does Spider-Man, Superman.
I would imagine every superhero has their own code.
Yeah, because like Rorschach will beat the crap out of someone.
Yeah. These kind of cape-like kind of things, they don't really work, do they, for somebody that's as active as these people?
They kind of get in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
They are awesome though.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
Cedric didn't know about the smiley face on Mars. Yeah.
No, I just made that up. There isn't really a smiley face on Mars.
There might be somewhere.
Well,
I mean,
There was a quick shot there. Oh, it's there on the right hand side of Ridley Scott's. Was it the Apple advert from the 80s?
Hmm. Was Hitler really a vegetarian? Seems like an odd thing to be back in the 1930s and 40s.
I'm sure Wikipedia will know.
Yeah, Setter's Moss is right. Capes get caught and stuff. They sure do.
Was Hitler a vegetarian? Towards the end of his life, Hitler followed a vegetarian diet.
Well,
It is not clear when or why he adopted it. So, bit of speculation there, maybe. Would you want to be a stuntman? I know it's all very rehearsed and very safe, but it's gonna the stuff that stuntmen do. It's got to hurt. It really has to. When you see some of the falls they take.
when I was younger, we had a show in America called The Fall Guy. It was about a stuntman who moonlighted as a bounty hunter.
Yeah, we got that here as well.
Oh, you got that there, man! I was like, that's what I want to be, a stuntman and a bounty hunter. Today, no, no, no. Oh,
Well, I'm
like,
not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with fairer.
that's right. Mm. Yeah, like my hands hurt, my knees hurt. I'm like, I would not want to choose that. Maybe like a stunt car driver. That sounds safer to me.
But even still, sometimes you see these stunts and they get out and they go, "I'm fine," but you think, no, all their bones are rattling around inside their body. That car crash at the end of Casino Royale, where they roll the Aston
Aston
Martin,
Martin.
and there was a guy inside that. Would you do that?
And they got like the safety harness on and the helmet and like the neck brace and everything. And
Even still,
I, yeah, I don't think I'd want to do that.
no.
Yeah, Superman should get sucked in the engine of a plane from the draft. That would be messy. That'd be very messy. I do like his tiger thingy.
I may be wrong, but I think in the comic book that was an experiment to see if he could put together some kind of creature, which he then obviously made even bigger for the ending of the comic book, which was different to the ending of this.
Tokyo, London, Paris, Beijing, Moscow, New York is what
See,
gives.
I always miss that the times I've watched this film. I always just think it's New York.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Hey, great.
Oh, yes.
Wonder how many people are watching this version on disc or streaming or whatever. They get to these cartoon segments to go fast forward.
Is there a way to do that?
We'd have to time it just right, and my thing would go faster forward than
Like,
yours. And
like with Laserdisc, you just feel like next chapter.
yeah. Oh, Laserdisc. I did like Laserdisc, but see Blu-ray and things like that are look a lot better. But I just love that the fact they were LP size things,
Yeah,
these
only
big
thicker.
things. Yeah. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
heavier.
It's
Oh,
shiny, so
it
shiny.
felt like something. The only thing I didn't like was you get to a certain point in the film and then you have to. Did you have a Laserdisc player that played both sides? You didn't have to take it out and
I
turn
just
it
pushed it
over.
over.
All right. Well, luckily I had one that turned it over, but you get to a point where it would change over to the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And then you'd have to change the disc if it was a really long film. And there were two types of disc. There was CAV and CLV. There was it constant angular velocity and constant linear velocity. CAV you could pause. CLV you couldn't pause.
He's
I think
right. It don't make no
he's
sense.
speaking for everybody watching this film. This is quite sad, actually. This bit.
Yeah. Cedric says the movie brings up some interesting points. Do we really want superheroes in the real world? What are the consequences of this? And is there a better way to get them to quit?
I suppose in this world, in this kind of Watchmen world, you could go to Dr. Manhattan and say, look, we don't want any more of these superheroes. Can you do something about that? And he just vaporize them.
Can. And then you got to clean the ceiling afterwards.
Yeah, unfortunately. There's something to be said for that little bit of silence in these kind of moments. And it's sucked in, and there's just a moment of silence, and then something happens. Was in episode 2, Attack of the Clones, those mines in the asteroid sequence
Mm-hmm.
that Django sends out.
Yeah.
And there's
Obi-Wan.
that moment of silence, and then there's that bong.
We could watch all 9 Star Wars films in one day.
Can I just say one thing? No. Now, why did they change the ending for the film?
I
Was it
think
just was it to surprise people that knew the story so they'd have something
they
new
thought
for their film experience?
the Poe invasion would be too difficult to pull off.
What, to explain or to pull off visually?
Just to explain to people.
Right.
Cedric says Batman's got to be the most concise person to cause very little or any damage when facing his enemies. Meanwhile, Superman is grabbing whole buildings just to stop one guy.
That's very true. Ozymandias is quite ruthless in his.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody buys that he's been shot.
Well, you got 5 more bullets in that gun.
If you kicked her into steps.
Mhm.
I don't know if I asked this last week or I've ever asked this, but did you ever watch Firefly?
Never did. Feel like I've missed out by not watching it.
It's still out there in the ether somewhere.
Yeah.
And there is a film to finish off the story as well.
I did see the film.
Oh, you saw the film?
Mhm.
I know you like the score for Nixon, but did you ever see the film?
I did not.
That's another long one.
Aren't all Oliver Stone films long?
I think so. Did you ever see that film with Jeff Bridges, where he played a lecturer, telling people about why terrorists uh, act the way they do?
No.
And he moved. I'm trying to remember what it's called. A neighbour, Tim Robbins, moves in, who he suspects maybe of being a terrorist. I can't remember what it's called.
Blown
I'm trying
Away?
to. I need to.
I think that had Tommy Lee Jones in it.
What did you say? What?
Blown Away?
No, that was something else. I've got it somewhere on Blu-ray, but I just can't remember what it's called. Arlington Road.
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
That's very good. I can't really. I don't want to say too much. If you haven't seen it, or if anybody's watching this that hasn't seen it, it's one of those things that if you say too much, it just gives away the film. So anyway, shouldn't have mentioned it. Who's right here? Is Doctor Manhattan right, or is Rorschach right? Or are they both right within their own kind of ways of thinking?
I don't think it's right to kill him.
Millions of people
I mean,
for a bigger cause.
I can understand why he does it. I'm not saying it's right. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I personally can't say it's right to have done that. I mean, I totally get why he did it, though. But I mean, who would have believed him if he showed up at ABC News and been like, "Hey, let me tell you what really happened." Who would have believed him?
Yeah.
He doesn't have any proof. People already think he's crazy.
And Doctor Manhattan is going along with it.
Yeah,
So that's very like the end of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, visually. So the music for that final scene with Rorschach.
I like what he wrote for that.
Now,
Hey,
Tyler Bates, I don't think wrote this.
he did write this.
Oh wow, this.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking it's like some classical piece. No, this is Tyler Bates.
The Outer Limits. I never watched The Outer Limits. Was it a kind of Twilight Zone-ish kind of show? Was it?
Yeah, I never watched the original one, but I watched the remake they did on. I think it was Showtime several years
Was that the
later.
80s one or was it 80s or 90s?
Oh, 90s.
90s. Oh, I might have seen a couple of that one actually. I remember seeing a really good one about two. It was set during some future war against some alien race, and the two humans were prisoners of the alien race, and one of them kept being taken away and interrogated. And part of the interrogation was they would cut off a piece of his body and graft on a piece of alien, uh, you know,
Tissue.
whatever. Yeah, and he kept going back, and it eventually turned out they weren't doing that. They were just rebuilding what he was originally an alien, and they were just
Oh,
putting him back, slowly putting him back together again.
wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
I would not want her as my mother-in-law. She's a, she's a little too flirty.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that what she was talking about?
I don't know.
So Doctor Manhattan's just completely gone now, isn't he? He's in a different
Yeah,
galaxy, or
just skip town.
very reminiscent of Ground Zero and the rebuilding
Yeah.
of that. What's wrong with that?
Sarah Moss is asking, do you think you can ever retire from being a superhero? Mm,
No, we mentioned that earlier on with the old Night Owl. I think he was He'd stopped wearing the costume and maybe being as active as he was, but I think he was still that same guy.
Yeah, I think James Bond can leave MI6, but he's still
He's
a
still
badass.
all about, yeah. He's
Yeah,
still. I mean, in one of the Daniel Craig films, I mean, even though he seemingly left the Secret Service, but he hadn't really. He was still all about Queen and country.
yeah.
Well, that wasn't too much of a chore, apart from the cartoon bits.
Yeah, I don't like the cartoon bit.
No, I still don't get what that was all about.
Wow, they have 10 minutes of credits for this thing.
Really, what's the time on it? Yeah, more than 10 minutes. Do you remember in the 70s, the kind of 60s and 70s, well, maybe 70s more than 60s, that, credits, it used to be kind of department heads, and they used to last maybe a minute at the most.
Yeah,
Most of the credits used to be up front, though, didn't they?
it did. You can kind of thank George Lucas for changing that.
Yeah. And I remember when Superman came out in 78 as well. The credits went on so long that they tacked on the love theme as an extra bit of music just to cover up the credits. I'm wondering if Zack Snyder's not a fan of this version with the cartoon. Why did he put it out? Was it just to
Make more
satiate the
money.
fans? Oh yeah, and make more money, I
But it
suppose.
was they had already released it on DVD. It was just its own little separate DVD.
Well, this whole 3.5 hour thing,
No, the cartoon because they
right?
released it separately. So like people who wanted it had it.
I take it vocal fans were like, no, you need to put it back in the film,
Yeah.
so it's just like the comic book.
Cedric Moss,
Uh,
glad you had fun. Thanks for stopping by. Wednesday night, Boomer and I are doing Magnum Force, Dirty Harry movie. Ian, what are we doing next week? I'm
well,
guessing Eric
I,
still
already,
won't be back.
I already told you an idea of mine to do one of these 6 minute Wile E.
Roadrunner?
Coyote cartoons.
Okay. But which one?
Anyone? I don't know. Can I suggest maybe not a 3.5 hour film with cartoon interludes?
So the Kevin Costner ultimate cut of Dances with Wolves?
Oh no, that's even longer than this. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic film, but no,
Oh,
that's almost 4 hours. And I was joking about Gettysburg and Gods and Generals or whatever that other one's called.
how
I
long would
get.
the complete Godfather trilogy be?
Ooh,
11?
it's got to be something like that. I mean, Godfather 2 is a 3 hours 20, 3 hours something.
Oh.
First one's 3 hours. Yeah, it would be 9, 10 hours. Yeah.
Mm. What's a good science fiction Jerry Goldsmith movie?
Good science fiction Jerry Goldsmith movie.
Yeah, it's not Star Trek.
It's not Star Trek. Alien. Um,
Star Trek 5?
a Star Trek film that isn't a science fiction film that isn't
I
Star
changed
Trek.
the
Star
rules.
Trek
I changed
5.
them. You want to do Star Trek 5?
You could do Star Trek 5.
All right, cool. Star Trek 5 it is.
Do you know what? I quite like Star Trek 5.
I enjoyed Star Trek V when I saw a double feature with that and The Last Crusade, and
That's it.
Star Trek V came first, Last Crusade came second. I enjoyed it.
Was that a program double feature, or was that just you saw two films in a
No,
day?
it was programmed. For a couple summers there, the theaters would run some double features during the summer, and I saw like Regarding Henry, I think was Soap Dish.
Did they give any thought to the films they were putting together? Or?
I don't really think so. I think they just kind of had to come from the same studio, maybe, and they were just just running them. Thank you, Cedric Miles. God bless you. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for your support. I wish they would do that again. You know, do some double features.
Yeah, it's been years. I mean, the last double feature I saw, it was Blue Thunder and Runaway with Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. It's a science fiction film with music by Jerry Goldsmith. But, yeah.
Star Trek V, though?
Yeah, Star Trek V. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, something lighthearted, not quite as graphically violent.
Yeah. And with a better score than this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the score to Star Trek V as well. But I don't want to say anything else because we can talk about that next week. So yeah, that's a good choice.
I really liked your John Williams video yesterday, by the way.
It was something that because I did the LP, the John Williams LP challenge a few months ago, and you did that as well. But I know that Dave from Skirwingle had gone through his mammoth John Williams CDs. Did you do your John Williams CDs?
Yep. I've done a couple. I did one that was just the Boston Pops, and I've done the Star Wars ones individually, and then I did like most everything else.
Right. Okay.
I think it was like an hour or so.
That's right. Yeah. But I mentioned a couple of months ago that I was going to do my CDs, and I completely forgot, and I just remembered at the weekend. I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. So yeah, but yeah,
I should probably do a Hans Zimmer video or James Horner.
Well, yeah, I mean, the two composers I have most of are Jerry Goldsmith and John Williams, so they were always going to be kind of lengthy ones, or ones with real meat to them. That's why the other week I did James Horner and Maurice Jarre as a kind of a double. So I might do that. I've got a few Elmer Bernstein, a few John Barry, so I might double up those and then just throw in some odds and sods here and there. Yeah. And I've got some Hans Zimmer stuff as well, so yeah. So yeah, I'll do a couple of those as well myself. So just to show off and share and see what other people think, and be good to see your stuff as well.
I got Skirwinkle didn't have Hans Zimmer CD. I feel like he needs to have, so I ordered it for him. Millennium Tribal Wisdom or something like that. It was I think it was like a PBS show done back in the early '90s. Hans Zimmer scored it. It sounds like Hans Zimmer at the time, a lot like Black Rain, but you can definitely tell it's Hans Zimmer.
I haven't watched your Black Rain rewatch yet. I need to dig out my copy of it to watch along to that one, because there's a couple of your things that I watch, obviously, because by the time you doing them, it's kind of 1:30, 2 in the morning here. Yeah. So I'll watch them the next day. A lot of them I watch without rewatching the film because I know the film that well. So I know from what you're saying where we are in the film, and I just enjoy the chat. But it's been so long since I've seen Black Rain. I'll need to actually watch the film at the same time as well. So I'll comment on that on that once I've watched the film along with your rewatch. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Film's still on. There we go. 99 Luftballons.
Yep. was actually 3 pieces by Philip Glass strung into one. Okay.
Outer Limits theme by Dominic Frontier. He did the score for The Stuntman. You know that film with Peter O'Toole?
I don't.
Great little score. It's not a long score. It was brought out by Entrada a decade or so ago.
Well, everyone, that was The Watchmen. We lived through it to tell.
No, it's the Daniel. It hasn't finished yet.
Hasn't quite finished. It's about to finish.
I hope. Okay, I have no more words on the screen. I have the Paramount logo now.
Okay. I got the Warner Brothers logo.
Warner Brothers, interesting. It must have been released by Paramount here in the UK.
I didn't get no Paramount logo. I told Jips. All right. We survived! Woo!
Oh, 3 hours, 35 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't take one toilet break. That's epic.
Yeah. Sorry I had to take doggy breaks. But...
No, that's fine.
So next week, Star Trek 5. You got anything else coming up on your channel?
Apart from the things I just mentioned, I'm going to do. I was going to do it the weekend, but I did my John Williams thing and said I'm going to do my Willow kind of retrospective film and score. So yeah, and I'll do an overview of that. No, I'll do it when it comes. I won't mention it. The one I showed you earlier on, I had a problem with it. I'll do it when I get the new version. Yeah, but I'll mention that when I get the replacement.
Okay.
So yeah.
Be on the lookout for Jane Eyre.
Yeah. Again, thank you very much for that.
You have to have it. I mean, we can't be friends if you don't have it. I mean, for the sake of our friendship.
No. So, but I'm so glad I had the Cowboy. I got the Cowboys when that first came out. The deluxe edition. Because I'd always wanted that. I had it. I downloaded from Apple Music or iTunes or whatever it was. But when Vrez did the deluxe edition, I thought I've got to have that.
I better be able to get the LP if they release it in November. They better. They've delayed it twice already.
Why is it delayed? Is it manufacturing things?
Production delays. So
okay. I take it you've seen the Cowboys, the film.
No.
Oh. Okay.
Got the film score.
Yeah, that's important. That's important. So.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for tuning in. Adopt, Stump Shop. Keep listening to great film music. Subscribe to Sir Ian's channel. He has awesome content, as does Erik Woods, Age Boomer, Retro Reels, Miss 80s Movies and Music, Skirwinkle, and the entire gang. Subscribe to everyone. Everyone, take care. We'll see y'all Wednesday.